despite the passage of time. As in 1966 subjugation and unwarranted massacre of Biafra of thousands of Biafrans are the main reason for our agitation for independent state of Biafra, which must confront the dual evil of British imperialism and Arab Muslim expansionism. The confluence of these two evils in the principal reason Nigeria is structured to fail. It is also the singular reason Biafra freedom from Nigeria is inevitable, even though it is also the greatest impediment. It would be childish to assume that these obstacles have disappeared. However, this time we are probably better positioned to manage their complexities better than before, particularly on the account of egregious activities of the Nigeria state and their sponsors. We will use all available means known and unknown to mankind to fight for our freedom. We are already seeing the impact of the sit at home, which was initiated to demand the release of our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. We are going to fight, or we are fighting this freedom of Biafra in many dimensional ways. We are using the political approach, we are using the struggle approach, and we're using the diplomatic approach.
That's my Prime Minister. We must get there.
Approach,
yeah.
Diplomatic approach is the reason why we are here today in our numbers from all over the world. British imperialism. The British prejudice against Biafra and Igbos in particular played out again recently in a predictable fashion after orchestrating the kidnap, torture, and rendition of our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. The three co-conspirators had assembled in London to celebrate their feat. The British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, the Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta, and Nigeria President, ex-President then Buhari, assembled in London in the summer of 2021 after the kidnap of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, not for economic summit, not for Commonwealth meeting, but for what appears to be the track glasses of champagne for a job well done. 2 years after Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was registered to Nigeria, he remained in solitary confinement despite his failing health and two court judgment for his release. Britain is yet to make public pronouncement denouncing abduction and continued detention of their own citizen, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, up to date. The sit-at-home initiated to demand the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and of course, Biafra referendum is having the desired effect and remain a potential tool in our toolkit until Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is released. In one of Buhari's interviews in London, he justified his policies and marginalization of the Southeast by claiming the region did not vote for him. The British interviewer did not attempt to educate the emerging president that the president is for all, not just those that voted for him. Buhari's disdain for the Southeast is epoch, and he would never resist an opportunity to slight the region. Despite making incendiary statements and infamously characterizing the region as a dot in the circle, those with the head of those put numbers together have now revealed that Biafra initiated sit-at-home civil disobedience is causing Nigeria loss up to 30% of her gross domestic product. This is amounting to tens and tens of billions of dollars in loss. So a dot can translate to 30% of the domestic product. What a powerful revelation. For a region maligned with all manner of names, including landlocked. I also want to inform every one of us here today, even if Biafra becomes landlocked, we are not going to be the first country to be landlocked. Even the imperialist British was getting rattled too at the development from our civil disobedience, from that small dot. If Britain was disposed to a Nigeria president from the southeast, they would have probably been able to persuade one of the major parties to field a candidate from the region, especially because it was the region turns to produce the next president. Rather, they opted to play the British card. They called P2B to 10 Downing Street and got him leave his party, PDP, and then run under the platform of a French party, Labour. Britain know that P2B could not win presidential election running on a French party platform. But in P2B, they saw an opportunity to use one stone to kill two birds. This particular evil were rejected by almost all of you here. P2B's participation in the sham election will give it credibility and at the same time distract us from making progress with our agitation for Biafra freedom. But all those pranks failed woefully. Let me also remind you that the total registered voters in Biafra territory, which is the combination of the South, so-called South-South and Southeast, were 24 million people. Out of these 24 million people, 20 million boycotted participating in the election for Biafra. The total number of people that participated in the election was about 3-point-something million. This is a referendum on its own. It will go down in the history. When Biafra has been declared, it is going to be part of our case after Biafra declaration, which is going to happen very soon. We are going to use their own mechanism, their own voting system, and their own statistics to justify our referendum. Our struggle has made giant strides, and we are ever closer to our freedom. The Arab-Muslim expansionism, as variously expressed by northern leaders, including former Kano State Governor Kwankwaso and the current Vice President Shetima, who is, by the way, was the founder of Boko Haram. Marginalization of Biafrans and Igbos in particular has become unwritten policy of the Nigeria state. The marginalization plays in several spheres of national life, from resources sharing to lack of appointment of Biafrans to sensitive position. There is a scandalous lack of infrastructure in Biafra land, indicating absence of the Nigeria federal government. The few federal roads that exist are poorly maintained. The federal government refused to maintain those roads even when they are completely impossible. Yet, the federal government refused to grant state government permission to maintain sensitive federal road within their jurisdiction. For example, Onitsha-Owerri Road has been completely severed by gully erosion at Onitsha. On the other end of the city, the Onitsha-Enugu Expressway is impassable. In effect, except for the Onitsha-Saba Road, Onitsha town is essentially isolated, and the resultant traffic deadlock can result in journey of 1 hour taking upward of 8 hours. In addition to very inhumane roadblocks by the Nigeria Boko Haram infiltrated security agents. This has been the state of road in the region. The citizen with poor understanding of their right and obligation of their government to them are forced to live in conditions that we considered inhumane in the other parts of the world. There is nothing they have not tried. Without exception, foreign investors are steered away from the region by Nigeria government. It is not by error that there is no government-funded industry in the area. No functional international airport, no railroad, no seaport, despite the fact that Biafra covers the largest segment of the Nigeria coastal express. Yet, they accuse you because of the civil disobedience for just 2 years. But for the past 50-something years, there is nothing to show for Nigeria presence in Biafra land. There is nothing anybody can do today for us to step back an inch. It is not error that they are doing all those things they did or they are doing at the point. In fact, the Niger Delta is the only major river delta in the world without a seaport. By comparison, Nile Delta has at least 2 seaports. Mississippi Delta has 7 of the 50 largest seaports in the United States. The Gangs 2 seaport in the Brahmaputra Delta has 4 seaports, 2 each of the Indian, Bangladesh part of the Delta. Nigeria is possibly also the only country in the world actively pursuing policies to marginalize and strangulate its otherwise most productive population of 70 million Biafrans as we have it today. The lack of the national inclusive agenda has been the bane of the country. It's always been different ethnic nationalities pursuing sectional agenda, with those in power pursuing policies that adversely affect the others, again underscoring the absence of nationhood. And any idea of one Nigeria is merely a lip service destined to a catastrophic end. The dangerous diversity must be dismantled for us to be alive. The process of dismantling this particular dangerous diversity is the reason why we are here today. And the destruction of it will start today. Biafra extrication from Nigeria need not to be further delayed. The re-emergence of Biafra agitation of noun liberation was initially anchored on poor governance and marginalization. However, the agitation and the liberation quickly changed to self-preservation after the US-led NATO forces deposed the Libyan leader, Colonel Muammar Gaddafi. It is widely believed that Islamic militants from that war soon set their eyes on Nigeria, with the invitation of the northern politicians and Muhammad Buhari when he invited them to enter Nigeria without visa. The wanted power returned to the north. The terrorists under several identities, including Boko Haram, ISWAP, Fulani herdsmen, and etc., quickly established presence in Nigeria. Their first footprint was abducting 300 Chibok girls, from their school, the failure of the international community to rescue those girls emboldened the terrorists. Since then, they have acted with impunity and have taken a wide range of targets, ranging from invading military installation and killing soldiers, invading indigenous communities, butchering scores of people, which has occurred with regular frequencies. Remember, those military people that they are killing are those who are not in alliance with them, because they have those in the military who have alliance with them and has oath of allegiance to give them information, and all agenda is to Islamize Nigeria. It was not long before elements from the north started verbalizing that Fulani in different parts of the world are Nigerians. We all see that on their national dailies and national newspapers, and even in televisions when they come online to tell you that Fulanis from all over the world are Nigerians, with express invitation for them to come and settle in Nigeria. These are people that were ranked number 4 most deadliest terrorist group in the world. To settle in Nigeria, they would need land, and to get land, they are not buying it. Unlike the Biafrans, go anywhere in the world from Nigeria to other African countries, we buy land, we build a house, we pay for it. Rather, they are forcefully invading indigenous communities and forcing them out of their land while leaving many dead. Those that survive the attack end up in internally displaced people's camp. There are millions of people now in those camps, and these rampaging Fulani invaders have had the infantry to still attack people in their camp, in these camps. The Fulani-controlled Nigeria state desire to increase Fulani population in Nigeria explain why the security operative have not been helping in checkmating or checking these activities of the invaders. In many instances, the security operative have been accused of aiding terrorist human activities, as they have not done much to stop them. In many instances, we saw where community leaders come out openly and publicly to lament that during the attack and massacre of their people, the military were shielding these massacres, those killing their people. Retired General Theophilus Danjuma has publicly accused the military of complicity and encouraged citizens to arm themselves for self-defense, because people waiting on protection from security operative would end up being killed and kidnapped by the vendors. After this call, it is only the Biafra people that have lived up to the expectation of many people in the northern Nigeria. And that is made possible because of you that are here today seated. Because of you, we are no longer crying like we used to do in the past. So the agitation and the liberation for Biafra freedom has since shifted from agitation and marginalization to agitation for self-preservation, or at least the latter has bolstered to the former. Despite their unimaginable crimes against humanity, Fulani leaders will go to any length to minimize and normalize Fulani jihadist atrocities in Nigeria. Nasser El-Rufai publicly stated that kidnapping is Fulani people's business, and shockingly linked it to Igbo people dealing on motor parts. This is very absurd. The kidnappers invade communities and abduct people or lay siege on the road, and often unsuspecting travelers are their victim. Civilians from every part of Nigeria has suffered and has become the biggest victim, including women and children. People who are not able to pay ransom are killed in front of their abductees and their body parts sold for money. Is this my imagination that Nigeria, in other hands, and in other parts of Nigeria, except Biafra, are not doing much to checkmate Fulani atrocities? As being aided by the Nigeria state through their Boko Haram infiltrated Nigerian military. But Biafra frequently run into confrontation with the terrorist military, who are not deployed to protect the people, but to kill them extrajudicial. Today, we see forceful disappearance of Biafrans in our own land.